Hi, I live in Taipei, and like a lot of people my age, I live in an apartment with a far too small closet for just the amount of clothes I have. This is mainly due to fast fashion and the ease of access from online shopping that it's far too easy to get overwhelmed with clothes. Now, the obvious solution is to downsize, but throwing away and recycling in Taiwan is already pretty complicated enough. And I think that there's a huge decision fatigue that comes with recycling clothes. Like how much of it actually gets recycled when you donate, how much of it actually gets sent to charities, and do these charities even want these clothes? And there's just a big guilt in throwing clothes away.
Now, this isn't just a problem for me and my teammates. Taiwan generates roughly 80,000 metric tons of used clothing every single year. Taiwanese consumers actually discard an average of 438 garments every single minute. And because it feels so complicated, nearly 49% of used textiles globally go straight into landfills or get incinerated. Not because people don't care, but because the system makes it too hard to do the right thing. And what happens when people do donate? Charities get completely overwhelmed. The share of usable donations has collapsed from 80% down to just 30%. Everything else typically just gets incinerated. The sheer volume, if you stacked it up, is roughly 15 Taipei 101 towers stacked on top of each other every single year. Now, Taiwan actually does have some of the world-leading chemical recyclers capable of breaking down pure polyester into brand new reusable yarn. The technology's there, the demand exists. So what's the actual bottleneck? It's the sorting. Manual sorting eats around 40% of recycling operation costs. And you can't even trust the tags. Clothing labels are chemically or legally inaccurate around 40% of the time. Recyclers are starving for clean material, and we can't feed them fast enough. Our solution is the Smart Textile Kiosk, a decentralized, kind of automated reverse vending machine, which would be placed inside high foot traffic areas like MRT stations. And instead of using a drop box system, it would use a conveyor belt, which would be positioned at an incline facing the user, where they put their garments one by one under both of our cameras. Using the RGBD camera and the hyperspectral imaging camera, the machine would do a three-way triage where one, if it detects hardware and heavy materials, it would route these high quality jackets and things to charities. Then two, if it detects hardware but cheap materials, it would route them to downcycling shredders. And then third case, if it reads the chemical makeup and detects pure basic materials like pure polyester, it would route them straight to those chemical recyclers. Which then, going back to the user, a small screen would tell them, yep, it's good to go. That's going to get sorted inside of the machine based on one of those three options. If it doesn't match one of those three options, or if there are any other issues that it's found, like the jacket's too folded for it to scan properly, it will tell the user to try again. Now, how is this better than the existing solutions? Well, again, the traditional donation bin system puts a lot of burden on the user. There are actually fines for things like if the clothes aren't dry enough because Taiwan is so humid. If you put wet clothes with the large pile inside of these bins, they can spread mold and ruin the entire batch. Then there's existing smart bins like the Refit by Singtex here in Taiwan, which functions by giving bags out to users, which they have to look at the tags on their clothes and then make sure that they're 100% polyester and then put them in those bags and donate, which again puts the burden back on the user. And then there's industrial AI sorters like PickVisa and DataBeyond's machines, which cost a lot of money. And sure, they work, but our solution doesn't just find the material and makeup. It also makes sure that it can go to these charities. It centralizes all of these small little inputs into one single one. Now, in actually making the product, the total hardware cost for the entire machine would definitely be under 30,000 NTD, while our revenue model, we would just sell these 99% pure pre-sorted raw materials directly to these recycling giants here in Taiwan. We are young urbanites living in Taipei. We are the fast fashion generation, and we understand exactly why our peers don't donate more. That's not a weakness, that's just our sharpest competitive insight. Our teams combine hardware engineering, AI integration, and business strategy. We're not just building an awareness campaign, we're building the infrastructure and turning a frustrating chore into a seamless daily habit.